If you've ever stood in your garden wondering why some soils seem to grow better crops year after year while others need constant feeding, you're not alone. I've been there too, adding compost, mulching, brewing teas, only to feel like the soil is always hungry again. That's when I stumbled into the story of Terra Preta, and it quietly rewired how I think about soil forever. Terra Preta isn't a trendy amendment or a new bagged product. It's ancient, it's proven, and most importantly, it's a system, one that turns soil into a self-feeding engine. Let's dig into what it really is, why it works so well, and how we can realistically apply its principles in our own gardens today. Terra Preta, which translates to Black Earth, was created by indigenous peoples of the Amazon over 500 to 2,000 years ago. In a region known for heavily leached, nutrient-poor soils, these communities somehow built patches of soil that were dark, rich, and shockingly fertile. And many of them are still productive today. That alone should make any gardener pause. This wasn't an accident of nature. Terra Preta was deliberately built over time using a mix of charred biomass, what we now call biochar, food scraps, bones, manure, ash, and organic residues. But the real magic wasn't just the ingredients, it was the biology that emerged from the process. Terra Preta soils are living systems. They don't just hold nutrients, they cycle them endlessly. Here's where things get exciting for gardeners. Terra Preta doesn't rely on constant inputs the way modern soil systems often do. Instead, it creates a long-term partnership between minerals, microbes, and organic matter. The key player here is char, which is produced by low oxygen burning of wood and plant material. Unlike compost, which, breaks down pretty quickly, char is incredibly stable. It can persist in soil for hundreds, possibly even thousands of years. But, here's the thing, char alone isn't enough. Fresh char is actually hungry and kind of inert until it's, charged. Once it's charged with nutrients and microbes, char becomes this vast underground habitat. You can think of it as a microbial apartment complex, packed with millions of tiny pores. Nutrients stick to its surfaces instead of just washing away, and microbes move in, trading minerals to plant roots in exchange for sugars. This is actually why Terra Preta doesn't burn plants or leach away. Nutrients move slowly, biologically, and honestly, really efficiently. One of the biggest lessons Terra Preta teaches us is that fertility is biological, not chemical. In these ancient soils, beneficial bacteria and fungi really dominate. They immobilize nutrients when plants don't need them and release them when roots signal demand. This means, less waste, less runoff, and far more resilience during droughts or heavy rains. Fungi, in particular, play a major role. They extend the effective root system of plants, pulling phosphorus, calcium, and trace minerals from deep in the soil matrix. The char gives these fungi a permanent home, protecting them from disturbance. This is why, Terra Preta soils don't collapse when left alone. In fact, they actually improve with age. Industrial agriculture, it went in the opposite direction. We simplified soil, stripped out carbon, disrupted fungal networks, and replaced biology with soluble fertilizers. It works in the short term, but honestly, it creates dependency. The soil forgets how to feed itself. Terra Preta shows us another path, one based on accumulation, not extraction. Instead of asking, what fertilizer does this plant need today, we start asking, what system does this soil need for the next 20 years? That shift is where real soil power begins. Let's be clear, we're not recreating ancient Amazonian villages in our backyards, but we can apply the principles in a modern, ethical, and practical way. So, the first step is introducing charged biochar. Biochar should never go straight into soil raw. It really needs to be inoculated, soaked in compost tea, mixed into finished compost, aged with manure, or even fermented with kitchen scraps. This turns it from a nutrient sponge into a nutrient reservoir. Next comes diverse organic inputs. Terra Preta wasn't built with just one material. Diversity really matters. Compost, leaf mold, wood ash in moderation, crushed bones or eggshells, and even fermented plant juices all contribute different minerals and microbial signals. Finally, disturbance must be minimized. These soils were not tilled every season. The biology was allowed to organize itself. Mulching, shallow planting, and letting roots decay in place all help build structure instead of destroying it. Almost everything thrives in Terra Preta-inspired soil, but heavy feeders show the difference fastest. Tomatoes, maize, squash, brassicas, and fruit trees respond with deeper roots, thicker stems, and more consistent yields. What surprises most gardeners is not just the yield, but the stability. Plants don't surge and crash. They grow steadily, resist pests better, and tolerate stress with far less intervention. That's the soil feeding the plant, not the gardener forcing growth. Terra Preta is not a one-season miracle. It's a slow build with compounding returns. Each year, carbon accumulates. Each season, microbial networks deepen, and instead of exhausting your soil, you're investing in it. This is why I love teaching these ideas on Soilpower. They reward curiosity, observation, and restraint, skills every serious gardener eventually develops. You don't need perfection, you just need consistency. More than anything, Terra Preta represents a mindset shift. Soil isn't a container for roots, it's a living memory of everything you've ever added or taken away. When you build soil that feeds itself, you free yourself from endless inputs and constant correction. You become a steward instead of a manager. And that's where gardening stops feeling like work and, starts feeling like collaboration. If this ancient black soil can remain fertile for centuries in the harsh Amazon, just imagine what its principles can do in your garden. Start small, add carbon, feed microbes, respect time. This is slow gardening, but honestly, it's powerful gardening. If you found this guide helpful, make sure to subscribe to the Soilpower YouTube channel, share this article with a fellow gardener, and join the growing movement of people rebuilding soil from the ground up. Healthy soil feeds plants, feeds people, and, really, feeds the future.